good morning, and welcome to another episode of Levels and Meds with me, your host, Jeffrey Azan, here on the Bridge 99 FM. Remember, you can check the Bridge 99 FM on the entire 99 FM bandwidth. That means 0.1, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, and 0.9. If you want to see what's happening in studio, you can check us out online at thebridge99fm.com. And if you're on the go, remember, don't do it in your car because that's now a fine. You can download the mobile app in the Android Play Store or Apple App Store by simply searching the Bridge 99 FM. Levels and Meds, this is the show to help you reach next level living and next level thinking. Today I have an exciting show for you. We're going to be having a very phenomenal guest, and we're going to be exploring the topic navigating the journey to business and corporate leadership, essential steps for success. Folks, it is a pleasure to be here. And remember, this is not just me talking. It's not just a bobblehead, but it's a conversation. So you can join us by WhatsApping us on our WhatsApp line here in studio at 876-551-5782, or call in on the studio line for 876-676-4996. With all of that said, let's jump into what we're talking about today. So today we really want to explore this concept of leadership, essential steps for success. And we're going to be talking with Michelle O'Connor, who is a business strategist and a skilled execution specialist. She even has her own thing. You can go check her out, Strategy with Michelle. And I'm sure she's excited to share with us all of the business tips and tricks to executing, managing, and leading our teams into that next level living. But what we need to really jump into is, what is a leader? How are we going to define leadership? I find that across the island, within institutions, in our own schools, we really struggle to understand what is a leader. Very often you'll hear people say, well, that person is the boss, so the boss are the leader, or that person is the manager, so they're the leader, or that person is a supervisor, so they're the leader. And the first thing I want us to really look at this morning and really reflect on is that a title doesn't make you a leader. A lot of the time we have this problem where we see titles and we see uniforms and we automatically assign roles, definitions, and limitations based on the title or uniform that is presented before us. That is not the case when we're talking about leadership. When we're speaking about leaders, we're speaking about the character of an individual. We're speaking about the elements of that individual that puts them before others, that allows them to radiate when they step into a room, that makes a difference in a space. A leader is someone who people want to follow, not someone who people are told to follow. Big difference, right? So we want to explore this concept of leadership. And there's a number of things that we can look at in exploring leadership, and there are a number of key skills where I'm sure Michelle is going to dive down in and share with us all of these elements of leadership and strategy and how the two work together. But one of my favorite examples of leadership comes from one of my favorite speakers. His name is Simon Sinek, very famous author. He's written several books. My personal favorites are Start With Why and Leaders Eat Last. Definitely big recommendations for you to go out to take it in. But he defines a leader this way. He says, if you're lost in the wilderness and there's a group of you, he says a leader is that person who's going to climb the tree, look out into the distance and say, guys, that's the way we're supposed to go. Versus a manager who is going to be the one on the ground and they're counting food rations, checking when last everybody drank some water, and making sure that whatever supplies they have are in top order. Very often we confuse these two roles up because we think that climbing the tree and pointing out the direction isn't really a function that, quote unquote, anybody could do it. I could do it. And we hear this all the time in the workspace. When we see leadership in action, we go, but why that person supposed to get the money? Why that person have the title? Why that person in charge of me? Me coulda do that. And we hear it all the time. And the question is, if you coulda do it, why you never do it? That's the difference. A leader very often is the person who is willing to step up and to do it. And most importantly, they're the person who's going to make a decision, right or wrong. We're going to definitely be diving into this and exploring this concept, right? And we want to hear from you guys. I keep saying it. This is not just a lecture. It's not just me talking, but it is a conversation. We want to hear from you. We want your feedback. You can hit us up on our text line at 551-5782, or you can call into studio at 676-4996. You can even hit us up on our social media at the Bridge 99 FM, because I really want to know, for you out there in the world listening to my voice carried through the airwaves right now, how do you identify a leader versus a manager? And for those of you who are managers, I have a bigger question. Are you a leader or are you just a manager? Something to really think about. But we have some facts here that I want to share with you that were conducted in a survey by a group called Gallup. And they talk about some of the qualities that make great leaders. They say a great leader fosters trust and open communication, and they offer complete transparency. That's a big issue that we have here in Jamaica. We don't really encourage communication. We don't encourage talking amongst one another, and we very often don't encourage those beneath us, or let me not say beneath us, but those in our care to share their opinion. We think because we're in charge, they must hear our opinion. So a great leader fosters trust, open communication, and offers transparency. A great leader, now hear this one very carefully, Jamaica, Jamaica and the world. A great leader is not about politics. I want to say that one slowly so you guys hear me. A great leader is not about politics, right? They're about productivity that drives decisions and efficiency. So I don't care who you favor with, who you don't favor with, who's on the left, the right, who wearing what color shirt, but leadership is not politics. I can't say that enough. We have to have a whole show on that, leadership not being politics, right? But leadership is about productivity that drives decision making. A leader is someone with a compelling mission and vision. They motivate and engage all team members. And I want to really throw this out there because you hear it all the time in the workspace, and for those of you in the corporate environment, you see it up on the wall. This is our vision. This is our mission. And it's a lot of literature. But here's the thing, we come back to it. A leader is about trust and open communication. So when we're doing this vision and mission, it has to be simple. It has to be clear. If your team doesn't know the team's vision and mission off the top of their head, it's not a very good vision or mission, because it means they don't remember it. So if I show up to work and I don't remember the vision or mission, it's falling apart as a leadership. A leader also develops a culture of accountability, not punishment. In Jamaica, we have this desire to not make a mistake, because when we make a mistake, we are crucified for said mistake. Leadership encourages accountability, taking responsibility for a mistake, but a great leader builds upon it, thus giving more accountability, more responsibility, more empowerment. And lastly, a leader drives outcomes and helps the team overcome adversity and resistance. So a leader is not just sit back and say, well, I said this and I pointed out that and I've encouraged my team to do this. But a leader helps the team to overcome. So the leader themselves become a resource. A great leader provides his team or her team with access to their network, their resources, their education material, their insights, and the list goes on and on and on and on, because a great leader is a great resource. All right? And we're talking about leadership because we're going to be talking about strategy. A lot of businesses at this time, coming up into the end of the Q1, quarter one, which is the end of March for most businesses, They're going to be reviewing strategies, maybe the New Year strategy. Maybe they're looking at what they've done for Q1. Maybe they're looking at, this might be the end of their year. Maybe they're looking at their financial strategy. But a strategy without leadership is like trying to play chess without knowing the rules. So we're going to be taking a deep dive into leadership and its effect when we're looking at strategy. All that and more when we come back from a quick commercial break. And we're back to Levels and Meds here on the Bridge 99 FM. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about navigating the journey of business and corporate leadership and looking at essential steps for success. We did a deep dive on what is leadership, and we're going to be talking with a specialist in business strategy and execution very shortly. But remember, if you have not already, you need to hop on over online, thebridge99fm.com, check us out on the live stream, see what's going on behind the scenes, and also download the app, mobile app store or Apple app, the Google Play Store or Apple App Store by just simply searching the Bridge 99 FM, all one word. If you're not following our social media, why not? What are you doing? Let's get to it. All right. So we're jumping in today and we're talking with, as I said, a very phenomenal woman. Her name is Michelle O'Connor, and Michelle is a business strategist and skilled execution specialist. She has her own business called Strategy with Michelle, and she really marries her corporate experience and knowledge in strategic planning and execution along with real life. So it's not hairy-fairy and theory. Right? We're bringing the real life to it. And she helps entrepreneurs push towards their goals. And if you're an entrepreneur, you know, sometimes you need that push, you need that motivation, sometimes that encouraging word, and sometimes that hard slap in the back of your head. And I'm pretty sure Michelle is here to deliver all of the above and more. So folks, help me welcome to the stage Miss Michelle O'Connor.
Thank you so much. Woo! Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you, Michelle. Michelle, tell the people a little bit about yourself. What gives you this authority as a execution specialist?
All right. So, hi, listeners. So, first of all, I want to endorse everything you just said. Like, I was there cheering you on, going, yes, 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 the show could just end right here, right? But so I've been in corporate for like over 17 years, and I've been in strategic planning for over 7 years. And so I've been able to be at the forefront of developing strategies, not only in Jamaica, but Trinidad and Tobago and Dominican Republic. And one of the things I realized is that the needs of businesses are the same. No matter where you're from.
No matter where you are in the world.
No matter where you are in the world. The processes and the framework that we use and how to bring out the thinking to drive growth in your business is just the same. And so I thought to myself, there are many entrepreneurs out there. And I think COVID, more than anything, has grown that number, right?
For sure.
And I'm like, why not serve them? You know, why not find a way to go to them and say to them, listen, you can do this.
Right.
The large organizations are no different from you. You are able to implement, with some help, the processes and the thinking to grow your business and to structure it and to not be stressed. And also to go there quicker. You know, I think about when I just started, I did some things that I wish I had a coach who would say to me, listen, scrap that, scrap websites and colors and logo. Focus on getting your clients, you know. So I've been there.
You mind if I call you Mish?
No problem.
There is so much I want to unpack from what you just said. So very much. So the first thing that I want to bring attention to, it doesn't matter where you are.
No.
It doesn't matter where you are, even in your business journey, whether you're a startup, global.
There 10 years, 25 years, no.
Same.
Same.
We're going to need a strategy. We're going to need a plan. A lot of the groundwork, a lot of the process, even industry to industry, is
the same. And that is why you find that my clients are in many different industries, but the thinking is the same. I'm serving persons who've been in business for 5 years, for 25 years, and it's almost like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? You know, because the thinking and how it is that you pull out the ideas to help you to execute, because that is where the juice is, you know.
Right.
But you need to have a plan in order to execute. So, you know, that is how we serve, and the experience has given me that, and I just want to serve more entrepreneurs.
I love it. I love it. One of my favorite speakers, E.T., he says, ideas are praised, but execution is worshipped.
Yes, I love E.T. Oh my God, he pumps me up sometime in the morning.
Folks, if you're not following him, I have to give a big up to E.T. E.T. has been he doesn't know it, but he's been mentoring me in business for maybe the last 10 years. Check him out on YouTube,
yes.
E.T. the hip hop preacher.
Yes.
Yeah, you heard it from me and Mish
yes,
co-sign
E.T.
it.
Yes, I co-sign it.
All right. So, Mish, we want to jump into this now. You've established, you've worked internationally, so it's not just no local pion we have with us, because we like to look down on our local talent, even though they are phenomenal in and of themselves, but we have international talent in the building with us today.
Yes.
Mish, Jamaica, and the world.
Yes.
We want to really dissect this concept of leader. I want to start right there. Is there a difference in leadership when we're talking about leading a well-established business, a difference in leadership when we're talking about a startup, and even in our personal lives? Is there a difference in terms of leading our families or even leading ourselves? I would love for you weighing on that. Is there a difference in leadership based on the environment or the team?
Right. All right. So a few years ago, my response would have been completely different, right? But I got a chance during COVID to really uplevel my own leadership. And one of the things I learned through that experience is when you are leading, you're leading yourself first. And as such, you need to understand the type of leader you are so that you can lead others. And when you understand the type of leader you are, then it doesn't matter which environment you go into. It means that you are showing up maybe differently, but in your true self. So let me give you an example. For me, I'm an analytical person.
Okay.
So I take long to make decisions. I know that,
Yeah,
right?
20 Excel spreadsheets.
Yes, I do. And I have to weigh the pros and the cons, and I have to see if it's in the budget, that kind of thing. So because I understand that when I'm leading persons who may be quicker decision makers and they want decisions now, I have to tap into myself and say, okay, Michelle, right now it's not the time for the Excel. It's time to show results. And you think about it from the family perspective. My poor husband, before this, I was like, oh my God, if we want to go out, I have to get a week's notice and all of that kind of stuff. So I now have to say, okay, he comes and he's like, oh, I'm thinking about going somewhere on Thursday, but you don't have to answer right now. And I go, yeah, man, I can answer right now. We're going. Because then you now show up differently for other people. So if you're in the organization, you need to understand yourself, and then you need to understand the persons you're serving. When you understand yourself and understand the persons you're serving, you realize that you have some people, you ever work somewhere and people are like, oh, that person gets along with everybody. It's because they understand their leadership style. And so they also understand the leadership style of the persons that they're working with. And you take that and you replicate it in the home, with your friends, anywhere. And you find out, people always want to be around that person. And that's how you get them to do anything. Because you know are pulling them in. So if you serve somebody who that person wants to be on the agenda, literally, put them on the agenda. Give them a space to say something. That person wants to be engaged before you go to a meeting. Call them up and say, hey, Jeffrey, I have this idea about something I want to discuss at the meeting. What do you think? Yeah, man, Michelle, that's good. That's it. You have now engaged them. I know they want to work with you. So I think when it is that you're leading or in the organization, with your family, with your friends, in your business, once you get that formula right, you can work with anybody. I think about even for myself. When I'm serving my clients, I may meet somebody who is very analytical and they need the details. I need to tap in. Okay, Michelle, switch. If I serve somebody who wants to make a decision right now, okay, yes, we can do it. And then I give them the details after. I may serve somebody who's just excited and they want the fluff. I give them a presentation that's pretty and have colors. So you have to understand.
That one I don't do.
Or you get somebody to do it, right?
Yeah.
So when you understand the persons you are serving, because leadership is service. It is service. It's not about you. It's not about what you like to do. It's not about how you've always done things.
Not authority, not power. Service.
It's service. And when I'm serving, I am not serving myself. I'm serving somebody else.
It's so very much. But I want to go back to earlier in you said the first thing we need to do is understand what kind of leader we are.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of approach it from 2 points. So the first one is, what kind of leaders are there? And I know there's probably a vast list, but could you give me some buckets, some ideas of how would I identify with a particular leadership group or a leadership style?
All right. So let me give it in simple terms. So you may have, and I use myself as an example, you may have that leader who is analytical. They want all the details. You may have the leader who wants to make a decision right now. You may want the leader who wants the fluff and they're excited and they want cheerleaders around them. And you may have the leader who they want to include you in everything. You know, when you find out the type of leader that is out there, their leadership style and how it is that they lead, and you know how to serve them. So I can give a personal example. I had a leader once who, oh my God, I don't like to be micromanaged, and I was getting that. And it was driving me crazy. So what I did, and we often think that it's a person that we need to work on, a person we need to change. What I did, I'm like, okay, Michelle, as a leader yourself, because leadership is not a position. So you can be an admin team member,
Can be a janitor,
and you are a leader. So what I had to do is like, okay, Michelle, as a leader, how are you going to serve this person? You know that your manager like a lot of details. Give them the details. Hey, I made the reservation. Hey, I started the meeting. Give it to them. You know, and then slowly they will build a trust and say, you know what, Michelle got this.
Right.
So identify how the persons around you are leading, because that's just how God met them. They can't change, you know, and with help or with coaching, they can develop and become more aware of how their leadership style is impacting the people they are serving.
Right.
But until then, as a leader yourself, see how you are leading people, or see how persons who are your leaders are operating, and find a way to minimize your stress level. So if they want a lot of details, give them the details. If they want the fluff, give the fluff.
So to that point now, last question before we go to break on this topic of leadership. For our listeners out there who feel that they themselves may be leaders, or they're not sure how to become leaders, from what you said a while ago, step one is awareness, for sure. And step two is willingness to serve.
Correct.
Is there anything else that would transition me from follower to leader?
Wow. So if you are thinking of becoming a leader, it is there. For me personally, I don't think there's a formula. You know, from my experience, it's really just having that servant attitude, and knowing that I am here to give. So no matter what you are doing, if your job is to clean the mic, I am cleaning that mic so well that the persons around me are just in awe. I've been to sessions already because we've hosted strategic retreats, and persons who are serving coffee has been offered a job at our company where I used to work because of how they just show up. I have used persons in my personal business who I have interacted with because you just show up that way. So just have that servant attitude, and you will attract people. You don't have to do anything. Persons will be attracted to you.
I can tell you about one leader at the bridge named Cavell. But more about that when we come back from a break. Got to pay some bills. And when we come back, we're going to be shifting gears from leadership to strategy. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Never wanna give this love to no one but you. Tell Bridge Jamaica we love you. Bridge 99, we love you. Bridge 99 FM, couldn't be better.
Roll call! Red Hills Road, White Plains Road, Crossroads, Jamaica Avenue, Constant Spring, Flatbush Avenue. Wherever you are, the only place that keeps you connected to yacht and foreign is the Bridge 99 FM to the world.
Yo, dancehall can't start when the money must shut the content.
Right.
Introducing the Bridge 99 FM Dance Hall Chart Show.
I are the one and they are what?
All about our weekly top 10 music countdown, our Bridge Spotlight featuring artists and music producers, and our chat with the Bridge Jocks and music director.
We bring you in on the action. Just send your videos every week for your favorite artists on the chart in our Fan Affair segment. Do it WhatsApp 876-551-5782.
Jogger!
It's new, it's authentic, it's trend-setting, and only on the Bridge 99 FM Dance Hall Chart Show, hosted by Shell.
You know the vibes this Friday at 1 p.m. at the wickedest thing since dancehall. You know the thing go, we're bringing the vibes to the where, to the what, to the world.
Bridging the Caribbean gaps across the globe on social media. We are Facebooking, IGing, TikToking, and Twittering at The Bridge 99 FM.
You ever hungry and all you want is a bowl of some rich Jamaican soup? Your pot start bubble, you take off the cover and the flavor just lick you.
What a lovely situation.
Yeah man, with Caribbean Dream Soup Mix, we make sure you get the authentic Jamaican flavor. Chicken noodle, cock soup, pumpkin, and the new flavors, fish, vegetable, and ram goat. Caribbean Dream Soup Mix, flavor you want, flavor you get. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited.
Roll call.
Tivoli,
Jax Hill,
Roro,
Bridgetown,
Abbey,
Port of Spain,
Maracas,
New York,
White Plains,
Jamaica Avenue,
Brixton,
Scarborough.
Yard up for him, kick up, rock wine.
Bridge 99 FM.
And we're back with Levels and Meds here on the Bridge 99 FM. If you're just tuning in, folks, we've been having a phenomenal talk with Mrs. I was calling her Miss earlier. I guess that's just a professional in me. Mrs. Michelle O'Connor, who is a business strategist and skilled execution specialist. We're really talking about leadership and strategy today, folks, because many of us are ready to be leaders. Many of us are in leadership positions, and we're not really sure how to build ourselves, how to develop ourselves to execute in that efficient and effective way. So let's just jump right into it. Michelle, we're back. So we spoke about leadership and really how do we identify as a leader, and you gave a lot of strong points that the first step in leadership is you have to lead yourself. Yeah. And that involves both awareness of the situation and, most importantly, is the willingness to serve. Leadership isn't about your degree. It's not about your title. It's not about what somebody else gives you as responsibilities. Right. It's first and foremost about your willingness to serve others. And that is how you begin your journey to leadership. And folks, when we talk about serving, we're not talking about particularly being subservient or being weak. It's talking about taking care of someone else. Right? But now that I'm a leader, now that I have responded to the call on my life to serve, how do I serve in a way that's going to make a difference? And, you talk to people all the time, they'll say the way to do that is strategy. You have to have a strategy, you have to have a plan. So I kind of want to start there. Is there a difference between a strategy and a plan?
So your entire strategy includes a plan.
Okay.
So you talk about what, where you want to serve and what you want to do. The first thing I encourage persons to think about is, why am I here? Like, what is my purpose? We normally call that the vision. So why am I on this earth? What is my mission? Like, what am I here to do? When you're able to identify that, then you are able to develop the different elements that will help you now to bring that to a reality, if you think about it. So you spoke earlier about when you go into organizations, they have the mission or the vision on the wall. It's a reason.
Yeah.
To continue to remind both employees and customers or clients, depending on what we call them, of what our mission is, why we're here, and what we're promising to deliver to our customers and to our employees. So I encourage persons, identify your purpose. Why are you here? Because what I have found is whenever you're having conflict, whether in your work life or in your personal life, it's because there's something that's not aligned to your vision.
So when you're out of alignment,
when you're out of alignment, there is friction and things just not working out right. So identify first your vision, and this works for your personal life and also for your business. When you identify your purpose, why you're here, how can I now bring this to others? How can I offer this to the world? So if you are a motivational speaker, if you're a leadership transformational coach, how can I find other leaders so I can pour into them? When you decide, okay, how, and you put that how into action, that's now your plan. That is now how I'm going to be going out there, finding people. I may need to come on a radio program and have a talk. I may need to go to organizations and talk to people. I may need to start a YouTube channel. You name it. That is now your plan to bring your strategy to reality.
So the plan, really, when we're talking about a plan, the plan is the how.
The how.
But there's a lot of elements that really make up the strategy as a whole.
Correct.
And the how is just a part of the total strategy.
I see the how as the feet to your strategy. You know, that's down the bottom. So you have your
feet and fingers.
Right. So that is now that's the execution part. That is now putting the strategy into action, because your strategy is not something that you realize today.
Yeah, I forgot. No, you have to break that one down for me. My strategy, I don't realize my strategy today.
Your strategy is almost like a vision as to where you want to go. So, for example, let's use something simple. You're thinking of going on a family vacation. Right? You don't know that you're doing this, but this is what you're doing. Okay. You are thinking about, what do I want to feel on this vacation? I want to be relaxed. I want to have somewhere where the kids can play. You're working on your strategy right there. You haven't achieved it yet, but you're really working it out. I want to be by the pool side. I want the food to be ready at any time. So I may not want a villa. I may want an all-inclusive hotel. Your work that's really that's.
So I'm really setting to say it another way. That first step of my strategy is setting both goals, but I also heard you say standards.
Right. So, or some person may call it objectives.
Okay, so this is what goals, objectives, standards.
Right. So that's the first part of your strategy. You set, I don't want to use the strategic terms. Right. So you set your mission. All right, this is what I want to do. You set your objectives, this is what I want to achieve. And then you say, okay, what do I now need to do to achieve this? Can I afford this vacation?
Right.
Am I able to, how am I going to get there? Are we going to drive, or are we going to charter a vehicle because I'm bringing the entire family?
Right.
Those are the conversations you start having. So you do that for your business as well. And it's not until you get to that location that you're going to be enjoying your vacation that you're actually realizing the plan. Because first it was just an idea in your head, and then you walk through, what do I need to do? And then you actually do it. You start doing it when you start to drive down to the country or wherever it is you're going.
Right.
So you do that for your business as well. You think about a product. I want to be able to broadcast knowledge to persons so they can up-level their leadership. That's an idea that you may have in your bathroom, in your room, in the living room, in your car driving. And the whole
You sure that's not a ticketable offense?
It would be, no, right? Maybe. You have to be careful. We have to read it, guys. Ensure that you read it and don't leave your driver's license at home for those in Jamaica. So you think about the idea first, and then you say, okay, how am I going to get this done? But I encourage persons to really think about your vision, because business can be hard.
Right.
And whenever things become challenging, you want to go back to, why am I really doing it in the first place? And that is why you have some businesses that never made it through COVID, because they never had a plan to even, we use the word pivot. That word became very popular during COVID, right? Let's pivot.
Sick of it.
Let's pivot. But you can't pivot unless you're at a point.
Stick up pin, stick up forks, hold on. Place mash up while ago. No, you cannot pivot unless you are at a point. So if you never set a point, if you never have a focus, you could have said pivot till you're weak.
Where are you pivoting from?
You cannot pivot unless you have a point.
You have to be, if you think about it, even if you didn't do physics,
right.
When you talk about something pivoting, it's moving, right? So if you're not here, and this is what your plan does, you go back to your plan now and you say, okay, I really had planned to have conferences in person.
Right.
But why did I want to have the conference in the first place? I wanted to impart knowledge.
So even backtracking to the strategy.
That's you're going back to your strategy.
Right.
Why I wanted to impart knowledge. I wanted to help entrepreneurs. If that is what you want to do, you talk about using back pivoting, right?
Yeah.
COVID comes and you're not able to do it in person. Do you stop? No, you keep going. You find a way to get it done, because your mission and your purpose means so much to you that you still want to go ahead and do it.
I'm going to throw a challenge at you, right? So Levels and Medz, this program that you're on right here, right now.
Yes.
Levels and Medz started from 2017, 2018. And the idea was that it was more about community. It was about an opportunity where I would interview someone, but the audience would also get a chance to get their questions answered. And so for me, there was a necessity of a live event. Because it was myself, but it was also about the audience getting the opportunity. Anybody can read a book, anybody can watch a podcast. Then we had COVID, and I had my point, I knew what I wanted to do, and I pivoted to an online platform. And I felt that I lost that opportunity. The energy was different, the audience interaction was different. how we connected with the particular guest was different. And so I eventually ended up putting it on pause until this opportunity came up at Bridge. And I said, this is a great way because we have the Bridge Nation,
Right.
and we can connect with them. And this is something that we can multiply several times over, get into the live events, potentially doing tours, etc., etc. So my question to you, when I pivoted and went into that digital space, I had my strategy, I went back to it, I pivoted, but it felt like it had failed. How do you deal with that? I've pivoted, but I still feel like I failed.
So this is what your strategy does for you. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't know if you succeeded or you failed. So we believe sometimes as entrepreneurs or persons who create ideas that every idea that we implement is going to be successful.
I don't understand why not.
And it is not so. I was having a conversation this week with somebody because if you look at large organizations, you're not in there. So you see them succeeding and posting all these numbers and, record profits. You believe that everything that they implement is succeeding. No, it's not. Maybe, and Steve Harvey said it, in his journey, he may have knocked on 100 doors, tried 100 things. Only 3 of them worked. 97% of them didn't work. But that 3 was so big. So I want to say to persons who are listening and entrepreneurs, you may decide to do something and it doesn't work. We've tried many things and it didn't work. But because you have a plan, you never stopped.
Right.
You decided, okay, this didn't work. What about it did not work? You're now learning life lessons,
That's
if you
right.
never moved on, then it may happen again. You may know that, something may happen and 5 years down the line, you need to pivot again. Okay, that's not going to serve my audience.
Right.
So it's not 100%, you're not 100% sure that what you're going to do is going to work, but you learn some life lessons that will be so good to you that a few years on and you're like, you know what, I'm so happy I tried that. The other thing I want to say is when we are thinking of pivoting, and I'm learning this myself, ask your audience what they want. And this is why companies do surveys and focus groups and that kind of thing. They don't do it because they just have money. Ask your audience what they want. A friend of mine right now, we just got back from a summit in Puerto Rico, and we got a lot of challenges.
The ROI.
Yes, ROI Summit, Millionaire Summit. And one of the persons who were there, he took on a challenge. He said, I'm doing a 30-day tour because I realized that I missed connection. And what he's doing is that he's on social media asking persons, where should I go on the tour? You know what's going to happen when they start him tour?
Everybody are going to show
They
up.
are going to show up because they asked him to come. And they're building it with them. And I heard you talk about it earlier. When you have a vision, share it with your company so that they can also be a part of it. He's doing that as an entrepreneur. He's sharing his vision with his
an audience.
They're buying into it. So when he comes, they don't feel like they're a part of it.
So much. I tell you, for those who are listening, I need you guys to write to the Bridge and tell them this needs to be a 2-hour show. All right? Because
or weekly. I mean,
daily show.
daily.
We're going to figure it out. But so much to unpack from strategy. And before we go to our commercial break, just a quick review, because the Levels and Medz is about giving you the steps to achieve. So the first thing is, in building your strategy, you need to set clear goals, objectives, standards,
So
whatever word you want to use.
Right, so whatever word. Identify, why am I doing this?
Right.
Why is it important to me to do this?
And then that becomes your central point.
Correct.
After you figure that out, then you begin building the plan, which is
Right.
different from the strategy, on how I'm going to do it.
How.
And I can keep changing my plan along the way, what works, what doesn't work, adjust, roadblock, etc. But keep coming back to my
Yes.
strategy.
So you're building the game plan to execute on your strategy. So it's all a part of your strategy, but that last piece, that is your action plan, that the legs that I talk about, that now put it into action.
And then, most importantly, 97% is gonna fail.
I don't have the actual statistics.
We're just running with it. I'm going to run with it because we've been there. And guess what? If you fail, it tells you you're on the right path until you get to success.
Yes.
With that said, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back. And we're back to Levels and Medz, next level thinking for next level living, here on the Bridge 99 FM with me, your host, Jeffrey Azan, and joining me in studio is Mrs. Michelle O'Connor. Remember, guys, if you want to see what's going on in the studio, you need to hop on to the website, thebridge99fm.com, or download the mobile app in the Apple Play Store or Android App Store. Other way around. I keep mixing it up. The Android Play Store, Apple App Store, by simply searching The Bridge 99 FM, all one word. I messed it up again apparently. The Google Play Store. Google Play Store. You can also join the conversation by WhatsApping us at 876-551-5782 or calling on our studio lines at 876-676-4996. We have a few minutes left before we give up the time to Mama Elise Kelly with Untangle this afternoon, or this morning into afternoon. But before we go, I just want to do a quick recap with this awesome guest that we have on. So many things we want to talk about, but we're only talking about leadership and strategy this morning. So, Mish, if we're going to send these people off to go become leaders, we've spoken about the key to leadership. You know, your two main things is you need awareness and you have to have the desire to serve. And once you're doing those two things, you will naturally move into leadership position.
In any area of your life.
In any area of your life. So no matter what your title is, you yourself will be a leader.
Right.
And when we're talking about strategy, the key things to strategy are setting those, whatever verbiage you want to use or whatever language you want to use, whether you're going to call them objectives, goals, achievables, standards. You have to set those first because those become the guiding point of your strategy. Know why they matter. And then once you have those two things of the core of your strategy, you can move on to the next element, which is how am I going to achieve this? And we're going off of the Steve Harvey ratio saying that 97% of things that we try go and fail. But before we go, I have my personal I want to throw to you. So I speak a lot on the topic of vision and mission. And we know that there's literature out there, volumes on what is a vision, what is a mission, how do you purpose all of this. I like to put it this way, and I'd love your thoughts on it. A vision is the change that you want to see, simply put. How do you feel about that? How do you...
I feel good about it because the change that you want to see now becomes your purpose in life. You know, I want to see more leaders being developed in the organization without having a title. Whatever, I mean, you can fix it whichever way. So it really is a change that you want to see because this is now something that you're looking long term down the line, and that no, your vision is really long term, right? Like this is just something that I want to see down the line, and you don't know how you're going to do it. You don't even know if it is possible, but you know that this is a change that I want to see because a lot of times when persons are trying to figure out, you know, what's my purpose? What do I do? I ask them a simple question like, what is a gap that you see in society that you would like to fill? You know, that's almost the same. That's the same thing.
The same question. Yeah.
So therefore, if you see a gap in society that you want to, maybe that is your purpose. That is why you're here, and that now becomes the vision that you've now created for your life.
I love it. So, folks, this has been a phenomenal talk with Mrs. Michelle O'Connor. Mish, where can they find you? How can they get in touch with you?
So I am Strategy with Michelle everywhere.
Strategy with Michelle everywhere. It's not. Strategy with Michelle, and it's on all platforms.
Let's look for everywhere, right? So it's Strategy with Michelle on Facebook, on Instagram, on
IG,
Twitter,
all of them. All right.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you want to learn more about business strategy, this idea of executing, you need to get in touch with Michelle, Strategy with Michelle. She'll be happy to serve, happy to do a consultation with you, and even happier to work with your teams.
Yes, even happier to work with your team.
Fantastic. Folks, as we wrap up, I have a quick thought to share with you. Remember, I do shameless plugs of myself here. And I have a book called Self-Discussions, Weekly Lessons from Life. And I have a thought I want to share with you today called Challenger and Champion. Here's it. Do you really want the championship? Is it enough to say you want it? Show up to training, attend the meetings, sit in and contribute to the planning? Or is it more? Is it approaching every matchup, every challenge, every obstacle with the heart of a challenger, but the mentality of a champion? Somebody who sees themselves at the top, but fights as if they have only just begun. Someone afraid of the damage and scars they'll receive in the battle, the criticism of their peers, the pain and frustration of failed attempts, but brave enough to press on. That's the challenger's heart. The settling for nothing less than the best, to stand at the top of their past self, to enjoy all the wonders life has to offer. That's the champion's mentality. Every champion was once a challenger, and not one of them regret it. I nearly said fellow Toastmasters because I have a Toastmasters background. But Bridge Nation, that is the message of the day. Are you going to be the challenger or the champion? Because remember, every champion was once a challenger. You've been tuned in to Levels and Meds here on the Bridge 99 FM. Coming up next is Untangle with Mama Elise Kelly. I'm your host, Jeffrey Azan. And remember, next level, Levels and Meds is for next level thinking and next level living. So until next time, have a great day and don't stop leveling up.